Good morning, Ronnie. I don't know how long this stream will last because I've been trying to fix my internet issues, and it looks like nothing's changed. So I might be frozen or lagging. So I apologize for that. If it gets too bad, I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do because it's my internet, and I don't know why suddenly live streaming has become such a drag on it. So I might have to retire from doing live streams. Hello, WL from Brisbane. Let me know if the broadcast is too bad to watch. I might just have to call it quits. Otherwise, I will wait a few minutes to see if anyone else comes on. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see me. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday here in Melbourne. Okay, thanks for letting me know. All right, so I'm not sure if I even put the subject in the description for this live stream. I was going to talk about something I'm sure that we all probably have opinions on, where we have there are obviously very popular, critically acclaimed perfumes out there, some that have been around for, like in one case, probably over 100 years, some newer designer niche. And it's basically, you could say that they're almost as probably very universally acclaimed as good perfumes. I've just never been able to love them. Hi, Randy. So before I start talking about mine, let me know in the comments if you have ones like these where you can recognize in the chat, where you can recognize that a perfume is good, but you've never been able to connect with it, and there's got to be a lot, because we know that tasting perfume is a very subjective thing. But I can also smell a perfume and appreciate it and respect it for what it is. Maybe it's something that that's set a trend, and I just have not. It just doesn't work for me now. Okay. So I want to talk about this one, Ronnie, because this is Leighton for me is a little bit different to what I'm thinking of. I actually don't think Leighton is a very good perfume. I know it's very, very popular, but this wouldn't even be. This is not one that I would consider for this topic here. But I don't know. Maybe you think it smells okay, but you just don't like it yourself. Okay, so cheap imitation, is that mainly because I'm curious, because I'm wondering if it's the associations have something to do with it. I'll start talking about mine. Okay, the first two I'm going to talk about are from Creed. Okay, and you can probably guess the first one I'll talk about. So I recognize that Creed Aventus is it's obviously very, very popular, but I actually think it's a good perfume. I think for me, I just never was able to click with it, and I never disliked wearing it when I did wear it. It just never felt like me. It's very interesting because I don't normally find this with other perfumes, but I felt like I was too old to wear Aventus, and that doesn't really happen with me a lot with perfumes. But I think with Aventus, it is fair to say that it is really, really popular in the fragrance community, and I think it's actually well made. I think it smells very pleasant, and I can understand why it's popular. I think there is also a little bit on underneath that is a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of mythology about um, how many compliments people get and the opposite sex liking it and all of that kind of thing, mainly coming from straight guys that wear it. I can appreciate it, but I think it's definitely become a victim of its own popularity. And I'm talking about how many different perfumes not only tried to clone it, for not only tried to clone it, but also have inspired different versions of it, if that makes sense. So they don't necessarily smell like Aventus, but it's an Aventus like kind of accord that a lot of other brands try to do. And it's very obvious that that is for commercial reasons. So it's basically I just never connected with it. I kind of felt like I was wearing Aventus. When I did wear it, I kind of felt like I was trying a bit too hard. That's just me. And here's an interesting fact about Aventus. I did get compliments when I wore Aventus, but the compliments 100% were only from straight men. So there you go. All right. The second one is also Creed, and for me, it's Green Irish Tweed. Now, unlike Aventus, I wore Green Irish Tweed for quite a while, and I really liked it. I think with Green Irish Tweed was when I started to smell a lot more different perfumes. Green Irish Tweed sort of became a little bit boring for me, and it had the opposite effect of Aventus in that after a while of wearing it, I did spray it on one day, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, it felt like it was too old for me. I know that's really, really strange, and it's based in nothing because I actually gave the decant of Green Irish Tweed to my son, and he loves wearing it. And it suits him, and it smells great. And again, I can recognize that it's a great smelling perfume, but I really stopped liking it. And those two I never owned bottles of. I had decants that I wore a lot. I gave them a good chance, but I could never connect with them. And I'm very, very unlikely to ever own bottles of Aventus and Green Irish Tweed. The next one that I recognize as a great perfume, and particularly in the genre of the Chypre perfume, it's probably the benchmark or the watermark of Chypres, and I'm talking about Guerlain's Mitsuko. Now, I want to preface this with the fact that I have no experience of trying vintages. I've only tried a fairly current Mitsuko EDP, which I've reviewed. So I've done a review of this on my channel, and even though I can smell this perfume and I can recognize that it's very well made, it's a really interesting, complex composition to my nose, it's just not something that I can wear or ever love wearing. In fact, there are other Chypres of vintage or older shippers that I much prefer to wear. Like if I had to name one, something like Rochas Femme, that's definitely one that I love, and I definitely don't love Mitsuko from Guerlain, and I'm a Guerlain fanboy pretty much. So Mitsuko is just one I can appreciate as a great perfume, but it's just not one that I'm ever likely to love and own a bottle of. Now, these other two that I'm going to mention, I actually did own bottles of these at one point, some for a while, and last year they were part of the large amount of bottles that I sold to reduce my collection. So this one was, when it came out, I think it did. I can certainly recognize its originality when it came out, and in particular for a designer to come out with this in the context of also marketing it to men. I think Dior Homme is a kind of designer masterpiece, and it introduced a perfume marketed to men with what up until that point probably was a main accord that was more associated with perfumes that were marketed to women, and is that that very famous now lipsticky iris note that is used extensively in the Dior Homme line. So there's been a bunch of flankers that have been in there, and for a long time I wore Dior Homme and I enjoyed it. And I think what happened with me was that at some point I suddenly stopped enjoying iris in perfume in general. And so it didn't take long for me to start kind of letting my Dior Homme gather dust and not wear as much. But I can certainly appreciate that perfume, definitely, and I understand why so many people love it, and I liked it. It's just not one that I think I would probably own again, any of the flankers, because I actually thought the original Dior Homme EDT was my favorite, which is what I owned, and I ended up selling that. Excuse me. I'm just gonna if I see any comments. So I want to be clear, Thomas, that I don't dislike GIT. I am talking about perfumes here that I can definitely appreciate as perfumes, like that I respect and I think are good perfumes, but that I could not love or own bottles of. So I was just saying that at some point, Green Irish Tweed, I wore it, and I felt like, for me, it was strange because I was saying how when I wore Aventus, it felt like I was wearing a young person's perfume, and when I wore Green Irish Tweed, it actually felt older, and that's not logical. Obviously, it's a very subjective thing, and that's why I probably will never own a bottle of Green Irish Tweed. But I want to be clear: I don't dislike any of these perfumes, and the same is for Dior Homme. Excuse me. Now, the last one I'm going to mention is also one that I owned a bottle of, and I ended up selling as well. But it is the only one that's come from a sort of smaller niche house. And I even did a review and I haven't rewatched it, I've done a review of this perfume, and I might even at the time have said that I did love it, but I did recently end up selling it because I could see that it was technically a very, very good perfume. What it was inspired by was in the bottle, in the juice. I could smell it. I could see the whole vision. But it, the last few times that I wore it, each time I there was just no connection for me, no sort of emotional connection for me. And I'm talking about Loud Desert Marocaine from Tower. I ended up selling my perfume, and again, I do not dislike that perfume. I can see that it's a very good, if not great, perfume that a lot of people love. I just never loved it enough, and it was easy for me to sell. I don't miss it at all because even from the perspective of an amber perfume, there are other ambers that I enjoy more. The Tower was just like sort of never in consideration whenever I sort of thought about my very, very favorite top perfumes. And so yeah, so this is one where yes, it's a very good perfume. Yes, I understand why it's loved by so many people, just not by me. Excuse me, it's started to cough now. Cheap imitation, yeah. Yeah, with Kia de Russie, I don't mind. I actually like the EDP, the current version, more than the EDT. And I get why you're saying using old for it, but I don't. That's definitely not my favorite, or in my top favorites from the less exclusives. Hey Antonio, how are you? I don't know. Does anyone have anything they feel kind of the same about? So I'm not asking you to name popular perfumes that you don't like. Perfumes that you recognize are very good, but you've never been able to love. Yeah, for a long time, while I had a decant of Shogi, I really enjoyed wearing it, and I thought that once I finished my decant, I would get a bottle. But see, I got my decant of Shogi very early on when I started buying bottles, and I thought it was great. But then the more I smelled, the more I tried, the further back it fell back in the pecking order, which is why I don't own a bottle of it. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting because I actually like incense rose more than uh, Le Desert American. I haven't tried orange. Oh, I think I might have smelled orange star once. Yeah, so again, I like Latham, but not enough to own. And Natalia, I wonder also if I guess it's probably also the 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 decant I had was very strong of Shaggy, and the juice. I mean, it still looks very, very dark. I think the current version maybe is not doesn't seem as potent, but it was the perfume that I really enjoyed, that hay note it had in there, but it has iris in it as well. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's definitely not one. When I had Dior on, I did enjoy wearing it when I wore it, but it's just I kind of had to be in a particular mood to enjoy wearing it. Oh wow, that's interesting. That's never happened to me. Yeah, so, and musk ravishing is another one. I think it smells great, but I don't think it's that special. I've never tried Instant Crush. Uh, Baccarat Rouge 540 is not one that I would put in this group because I've never liked that perfume, and I sometimes smell it. I think it's probably the scent that I smell the most on the street here. Um, and I kind of, the reason I can't put it with the other perfumes is that I kind of really don't understand what makes this perfume so popular. But, you know, like a lot of people love it. They do love it. Uh, Yeah, a lot of people like Portrait of a Lady, but again, I can I Portrait of a Lady is interesting because quite a while back I got this in a group of samples that were blind samples, and I think out of the 10 samples that I had, I ranked Portrait of a Lady in the top three, and I could smell that it was a nice rose perfume. But at the same time, I did think to myself, well, you know, this is nice out of these samples, but I wouldn't buy a bottle of this. Adrian, okay. I have got a review of Naxos on my channel. Just if you want to just search up Sentinel and Naxos, it should come up. Um, I didn't think it was that special, but I haven't smelled Bogart Homme either, so I don't know what the similarities are. But I certainly wouldn't spend Xershov prices on Naxos. Uh, Okay. I haven't tried the EDP. I'm definitely familiar with the EDT, but the Eternity EDP has come out recently, hasn't it? Well, I found the cloying as well. I don't know about obnoxious or horrible, but I just didn't think it was great. In a couple of weeks, Little Cooper. Mm, I'm happy to talk about anything anyone wants to talk about. Otherwise, I'm not gonna stay on here for too long because I just wanted to. I was actually going to do this as a pre-recorded video, but I thought um, I'd be lazy and do a live stream because then I don't have to edit anything and all that kind of thing. Yeah, look, my experience. I'll talk about this. My experience of Zhezhov from the few that I've tried is that there's a couple of nice ones that I liked, but the thing was that I didn't like them enough to own a bottle, and the only one I came close to even considering as a bottle, but I think I'll just get a large decant of it because I only ever want to wear it in the summer, and it's Xerjoff Neo. I really enjoy that on hot days. I still wouldn't pay retail for it. I've tried. I have tried both Elysium and Enigma, And again, with roses, I don't dislike how they smell. I think they smell fine. But I have not smelled one single Rose Dove that has made me go, I will spend the money for this perfume. There's always been something, at least it's equal, that comes much cheaper. Your guess is as good as mine because I don't see them around. I think they survived the fires. Well, you know, like a lot of them died. Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, it's interesting that you say that, Adrian. When I go away in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks. I have decided, you know, in the past, usually when I do go on vacation or trip anywhere, I take a few samples with me to try and wear every day. This time around, I'm only taking a decant, like, you know, 20 mil of the one perfume. Yes, I'm just going to wear the same thing most days. And I might even have a few days where I don't wear anything. French Lover grew on me. I didn't like it straight away, Thomas. Natalia, I am going to take a decant of Eau de Hermes, which I really, really, really like, and probably will be a bottle I buy down the track once I finish my decant. And also, I still think my favorite one, and I'm kind of, here's one kind of regret I have. I wish I had probably bought Noir Epice before I bought French Lover from Frederic Malle. There you go. I have got a bottle from Floris. I've got a bottle of 1962, which I really, really enjoy. Um, I really enjoyed Leather Oud from Floris. I thought Honey Oud was okay, but I didn't love it. I really like number 89. I've got a sample of that, and I'll do a review of it soon. And I also like Floris Elite. Floris Elite reminds me of after cologne or aftershave that my grandfather wore. Okay. Well, I guess I mean, I've still got a bottle of, I've got a bottle of Jovan Sex Appeal. That feels like a very basic, cheap perfume, but I really, really like wearing it. What else? Not great, interesting, well made, but I enjoy it. Well, I really enjoy Serge Noir from Serge Lutin, and I know a lot of people don't like that perfume, but I wouldn't say it's not. See, it's great, and I think it is interesting and well made, but I can't think of anything really that I think is not great or not well made that I like. Yeah, I don't. None of them are beastly, but they last long enough. I'm not sure if I've smelled Pearl de la Lique. Adrian, no, I have not tried that one. Ebin de Balmain. No. Wrong comment. Is that also Frederick Malle? Because I've heard of it, but I can't remember who makes that. I do really like Angelica, as a note. And actually, speaking of which, recently I've been testing our Angelique Noir from Guerlain. I have a sample that's from the old style bottle, and I really, really love that perfume. I really love it. And I'm not a big vanilla fan, but this combination of the Angelica and the vanilla is amazing to me. And on my skin, it smells really, really good. But those new bottles are just so expensive. So expensive. Oh yeah, Santal is very good as well. And I think it does have similarities to Gucci Envy for men. All right, so next time I'm in the Frederick Malle section, I'll see if I can have a smell. Okay, Troy. I have not tried either Diorella or that. I didn't know Natalie Woods had a perfume. Yeah, Shipwrecks has been recommended to me as well, but I haven't smelled it. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess probably not Guerlain, but Louis Vuitton, maybe. I don't know. It they're big, they're much bigger bottles, but it's just made them out of reach. Like we're talking over 500 Australian for a bottle now, where I would have paid the original retail price for Angelique Noir in the older bottles, but this has made them kind of out of reach for me. Like, we're talking Roger Dove pricing here. Okay, that's one I've heard good things about too, but not smelled. Kelly, no, I have not got my nose on Jasmine Sarai samples. And the reason is, without going into too much detail, there is a retailer here that sells them, sells that brand. But what they do is instead of selling actual samples like from the brand or discovery set, they do 1 ml samples of these and charge $10 for each of them for 1 ml. And I don't want to pay. For starters, I like to have more than 1 ml to try on perfume of, but I'm not going to pay $20 for 2 mls. So they'll have to wait. It's completely the retailer's fault. Yeah, look, I'll keep my eye out when I'm in Germany for any, if they have any of those older Guerlain bottles. Yeah, but it's a shame. It's a shame because it doesn't seem like that they have messed with the perfume itself. It smells the same to me. So thankfully for that, they haven't reformulated. But what they've done is that they've put it out of reach of a lot of perfume lovers who should smell Angelique Noir. Hi Esther. Yeah, you have missed quite a bit, but you'll have to rewatch. No, you're right, Kelly. They're not expensive, but I don't want to buy a blind buy bottles, but to actually buy samples, it's a rip-off. Not for 1 ml, like, and that's the other annoying thing is why don't you do 2 ml samples and price them reasonably? they do that with a lot of the brands that they sell. They make their own samples, so they're probably making a lot more money out of the samples that they sell than the bottles that they sell. So I try to avoid buying from them. Okay. I'll wait a minute if there's anyone who wants to ask me anything or make a comment. Otherwise, I'm going to keep this stream short and sweet. And I can go and enjoy the rest of my Saturday. My scent of the day is Lumiere Noir from Francis Kurkdjian, Maison Francis Kurkdjian. One of my favorite roses. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. So now people have to rewatch this, won't have to sit through a long video. I might, I don't know. I probably won't be doing any live streams. I might do one. Maybe I'll try and do one from Berlin, perhaps. Maybe I can convince Marie to do one. We can talk about Miscao. Otherwise, I'll see you all later. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks, Natalia. And Esther, enjoy your trip to Amsterdam. All right. See you guys.